Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. I am Abe with MysticGenmara.com, a small town mystic from the middle of Idaho. And today I would like to offer the Oracle and Tarot card reading for the month of May for the elemental sign of Earth. And Earth covers the zodiac signs of Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. I read elemental energies. It's a little bit more generic, but I think the messages still get through. And with that, the earth energy, if you're on your charts, if it's high enough in your charts, it may not be your sun sign, but it could be tied to your earth, your moon sign, or your ascendant. So all of the stuff that has high earth energy in your charts, the messages apply to you. And even though I'm reading for the month of May of 2023, these messages are timeless, so if you catch it at a later time, it still applies for you. Or if you're not even an earth sign and you happen to catch this, there's probably something in it for you as well. I read intuitively, so what is on the cards or what's in the book may not be what comes through for me. I listen to what my guides send forward. And I read week to week. There's 4.5 weeks in May, so we'll go ahead and read all 5. I read a guide or guardian for the first card. The second card is a message from source, and the third card is a lesson or challenge from the tarot. The guide or guardian, it depends on how the energy works with you, whether it's helping you guide you somewhere or protecting you from something, so guide or guardian. The message from source is pretty straightforward. It is a message of support, of comfort, of something more on the positive side, directly from that comes through from the creator. And then the lesson or challenge from the tarot is it could be a lesson, something to work on for that week, or it could be a challenge, something that might come up that week that might be an issue for you. Again, these are readings for entertainment and for fun, so check that out. If it's something that does help you understand part of your life, that's awesome. And with that, we'll get started for your guide or guardian for the first week of May for elemental earth energy. And your first guide is the Healing Energy Angel class. These angels come through to help you understand and work through any issue that's coming forward. You have Archangel Raphael and Archangel Gabriel are the two primary healing angels. Raphael is going to work with more physical and mental, where Gabriel is going to come through to work with more emotional energy, being that she is the angel of water. But you can work with any of the angels for healing. So this first week, though, is really talking about working through any issues that might have been coming up. Maybe it's a physical issue, you just need to take a little bit of time to relax and recharge. It could be something that you need to journal out, get it out of your head so you're not thinking about it all the time. But that's kind of the energy that's coming forward for this first week. Let's look at your message from source. It is deep diver, diving into a task. So this is really actually going to be more of a journaling, getting it out of your head, getting out of your way for this first week. So you're working with healing energy. So you have these positive angels coming through, helping to show and guide you through this process of releasing. And as you're releasing, you're digging deep into your mind to find out why some of this stuff has happened or why it lined up like it did. And as you're doing that through your journaling, it's going to start working through. So if you're working with journaling, especially right this first week, really tap into those healing angels and ask for guidance from God's source, divine energy, and the healing angels to help you process anything that comes up during this week. Because the deep dive is you're going in to a deeper point. You're trying to understand why some of the subconscious things are coming forward. And if you go through the process of working with healing angels and divine source God energy, it's only going to bring forward what you're able to process in that moment. So understand that you're in safe hands and you're being protected as you work through this. So your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Sun. Plans working out perfectly, amazing ideas that lead to rewards, gratitude for the blessings of life. So as you're going through this process of healing, you're kind of rooting around, trying to find the root of what these issues that they're talking about are coming up, it's because the reward is worth it. This is a growth lesson for you, learning to process versus bottling up emotions, learning to release any of that stuff that, well, that person annoyed me 10 years ago. You're still carrying it around? It's letting things go, because the reward of releasing that stuck energy, the reward of letting go of the past is going to be so healing and so beneficial. So you're really working with this healing energy this first week, and it's to help you understand what needs to be let go of and what needs to be rooted out. You're basically digging out a weed. So your second week, guide or guardian, is friendship and union. So the first week is about clearing things out, and it's because you're making space. You're making space to reconnect. Maybe it's a relationship that you have in the moment that maybe is not as strong as you'd like it to be. This is about reconnection. It's building those friendships. It's supporting each other as you're going through life. Life can be difficult. But the second week's guide or guardian, these are angels that help you understand the relationships in your life, how to develop a deeper friendship, deeper connection with your romantic partner, and even your work associates, your work friends, things like that. It's helping you work in a more flow state with them. So the second week is, you've worked through clearing the first week and kind of healing through some stuff, because the rewards that come forward as you clear that stuff out, you're making space. You're making space for more positive experiences. You're making space for more growth. You're making space for a spiritual connection to grow, and that's the message that's coming through for the guides and guardians for this second week. Your message from source is whale song resonating. So as you're going through this reconnection period and you're connecting with people, you're connecting with friendship and union, you're doing so through resonance. As you're healing and you're processing and you're working with your guides and you're uplifting and you're clearing things out, your vibrational pattern, your auric field, is going to elevate. It's going to resonate at a higher frequency. As you do that, you're going to draw others to you that are in that higher frequency as well, and that's where you're going to uplift those friendships and those unions with other people. So your message from source is, it may be frustrating to work through, journal this stuff out, get it out of your head, to process it basically. But the rewards are, you're going to develop a deeper connection with your friends and your family, but because you're resonating. And if you haven't done this, check it out on YouTube or one of the other platforms and listen to the recordings that they've done of whale song. It is such a powerful thing to listen to. Try to find one that doesn't have somebody commenting over the top of it, where it's just the song of the ocean. They have a powerful sound to them, and it's extremely relaxing. So it's something to check out. One of the things that I've always wanted to do is go swimming and actually be in the water where the whales are when they're talking, because I think that would be just absolutely amazing. But that's a different story. Anyway, your lesson or challenge from the tarot is the Six of Summer. Children or childhood, the return of people or romances from your past. Remembering events differently in a better or worse light than how they actually occurred. So as you're going through this process of releasing, as you're going through this process of reconnecting and raising your vibration, the Six of Summer is saying there may be people from your past that are coming forward because they see you elevating, and they're like, oh no, we're going to keep you back down here. Knowing when to be, no, we're good. You don't have to let other people back in and give access to them. If there was something that you walked away from them for a reason, evaluate where their energy field is. Like, you can tell most of the time why someone just mysteriously pops back up into your life, and when it happens, what's your first instinct? What's your gut instinct telling you? Because if it's telling you that they're here to drain you again, say no, nice to see you again, whatever, and then get out of the situation. But the Six of Summer is really about, now that you're processing, now that you're resonating at this higher frequency, don't rose-colored glass the past. The past is back there for a reason. Leave it there. And people grow and people change. But if you go back to the same type of person, you're going to fall back into the same type of pattern unless the growth has been substantial for both of you. But there's always that possibility that that pattern is still hidden in your subconscious. So it's good to evaluate anybody that pops back up from your past. This third week's message, guide or guardian, is intuition and downloads. So the first week was healing, the second week was reconnecting and resonating at higher frequencies. And as you build that frequency up, as you grow and your aura clears itself as you're working with it, you're working with your connection to source, which is opening up that channel, that pillar of light. What's going to happen is your intuition and your downloads are going to increase. So this third week is really about working with the angels who guide ascension, guide those connections. They're saying Archangel Metatron would be a good one to start to work with during this time if you haven't worked with him before. And what's happening is as you're tapping in, as you're building that column, you're connecting to God, source, divine energy, you're connecting in through your higher self, you're working with these other energies. What you're building is your intuition. It's understanding and hearing what your guides are saying, even if it's that whole gut feeling of, I shouldn't do this, or, ooh, this looks fun. It's those things that catch your attention, and that inside you know that that's what you're supposed to be doing. And the downloads is the frequency changes. So as you're growing, there may come times where your ears just mysteriously will ring for about 2 seconds and stop, and you're like, what was that? A lot of times in the spiritual community, we would look at that as a download, or a spontaneous thought just drops into your head, like you're working away at your computer doing your thing, and all of a sudden you're like, ooh, I haven't had fill in the blank food for a long time, and you just happen to run into a really dear friend you haven't seen forever, but when you go to that restaurant, it's little things like that that pop up. And downloads are energetic downloads that help you heal, help you process things from the past. So work with the angels that are working with your intuition and working with the downloads as we go forward at this third week. And your message from Source is the Dragon's Horde, protecting the future. So when you work with your intuition, when you work with downloads, what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for a better future. But also with that, as you elevate, you become a better parent, you become a better guide, you become a better manager, supervisor, trainer, whatever step is you're in life. Because as you grow, you influence the future. You also influence the past, but that's another story. But you're influencing the next generation. So as you're growing, as you're developing your intuition, you're understanding these growths that you've been working through, these new connections with higher frequency friends, you're setting up the future so that they can take where you're at and move above. So we're basically building this wave of positive growth. And that doesn't mean that there's not going to be hiccups along the way. Part of growth is, muscle cramps. So you're going to have some of the others going with it. But what the message that's coming through is keep working on developing those connections to God, source, divine energy. Keep working on bettering yourself spiritually, physically, and mentally. Because as you grow, the world around you will grow and improve as well. So let's look at your lesson or challenge from the tarot. It's the Four of Autumn. Manage your resources wisely, achieve a balance in how you spend and save money, helping out those less fortunate. So your lesson or your challenge is really you're finding balance. There's been a kind of a thing going on here with balance so far, but you're understanding when it's time to offer help to others, and when, if they're abusing that, you need to pull back. This is managing your resources. It's not just financial, it's time. Your time is the most valuable resource you have, really. Are you managing it correctly? Are you spending way too much time at leisure and you're not doing your job? Are you spending way too much time with your friends out doing whatever, but you're not home with your family? So it's understanding that there's a balance that has to be maintained. So this fourth week is looking at how you spend your money, your time, your energy, and how is it imbalanced. And that's the challenge that's this fourth week, is correcting those correcting those imbalances. Use your intuition, use the angels that are there to guide you, to help you understand where some of the stuff needs to be brought into balance. Because when you fall back into balance, and it feels like that sometimes, where you kind of click, like, cool, you're actually setting the future up. So you're protecting the next generation, you're protecting the future, the people you're training, things like that, because you're living the example of that balance. So let's look at the 4th week guide or guardian, and it is listen deeply. So this is a continuation of the intuition, because when you listen to people, do you just listen here? Or do you listen from here? Or do you listen from your heart? Listening with your ears, people say a lot of gibberish. And if you've ever waited tables, or if you've ever done customer service, you know what that means. It's, the small talk. It's nothing super deep. But what this is saying is there's usually more behind a person's small talk. When you listen deeply, you listen from the heart. You listen from the third eye. You listen with your intuition. Sometimes people are very upbeat, but you're getting the impression off of them that there's something else going on. And you don't have to, take on other people's stuff as empaths can do. What you're doing is you're acknowledging in your mind, at least, that there's something else there, that this person needs a little bit extra compassion, a little bit of a kind word for them. So when you listen to people and you're talking with them, listening deeply means listening beyond your ears, listening with the body language, listening with your heart, so that you can understand where that person is. And the angels that come forward for this 4th week will help you develop that deeper ability to hear what the other person is saying. And your message from Source is overflow, overwhelm, and plenty. So as you're working with listening deeper, what's going to come forward is you're going to start to get an idea of how this person's holding up. And as you're doing that, you're going to be able to share with them, even if it's nonverbal, that you are there to share and help. You're there to share their joys, to uplift them, build that positive explosion that happens when people are like, oh my God, that's so exciting. But you're also working with a positive energy of someone needs just a compassionate, if you need to talk, give me a call. If sometimes they just need a little hug, and yes, that is still a thing. But you're not overwhelming yourself in a negative sense. It's that positivity of you're starting to understand the gifts that you were given before you were born. And that's that listening deeply. Earth signs tend to be very grounded. They tend to be very tactile. Earth energy is about physical connection. So this overwhelming is sometimes it's that urge to just, and you're not sure why, but you want to pat somebody on the shoulder. It's because they need that. And it might confuse them consciously because they're like focused here and you might startle them. So be careful with that part. But working with this energy of overflowing abundance, overflowing peace, overflowing, I'm here to support you. Again, keeping your boundaries up where they're supposed to be, but that's the message from Source, is understanding there's times that it's okay to overflow and share. Join in their happiness with them. I mean, giggle and laugh. I do that at work frequently because people are excited about where they're at in life, and join in with that, and it overflows and it will spread through their day and through yours. So your lesson or your challenge from the tarot is justice. Take time to review details carefully. You will win in the end. Fair and objective decisions. So we're still looking at balance, but this time it's that balance of your time again. You're listening deeply. You're starting to understand people better. You're working with your angels to help that intuitive sense to step forward for you. You're overflowing that compassion that you naturally carry as an earth sign. You can be a little stubborn, but you have a lot of compassion as well. But the thing is it's reviewing the details. It's examining, why did that person, after we had a good exchange, make me feel so tired? It's because they weren't working to benefit you. They were working to benefit them. And that happens. We all do it. Everyone literally has done this at some point in their life. So It's understanding the details, like that person in this situation made me feel this way, and it was draining even though we were talking about something positive. It's not really a give and take at that point. They were just taking. So you want to make sure that you look at things in the best possible outcome most of the time, but understand if there's something negative going on, you need to pay attention to that, because generally that's a warning sign for a future event. So, but the justice thing is, again, you're finding that energetic balance. They're really focusing on the concept of time. So it's the balancing of your time, knowing when to walk away from a conversation, like, okay, we're cycling the same thing over and over. I'm trying to listen and understand, but now you're trying to dump all your garbage onto me. I'm not here to be your dumpster. I'm here to help you sort your stuff. And if you're not willing to sort your stuff, it's, you just have to walk away sometimes. So that the lesson is really to pay attention to the time that you're giving, and if someone's abusing that, it's time to walk away. So, and that doesn't mean like cut them out of your life, but just be like, you need a minute. Your guide or guardian for the 5th week is take charge and action. So this month has really been more internal. You're working with a lot more of your guides and guardians. You're healing, you're developing intuition, you're starting to connect in the physical realm with these higher vibrational friends, because it's leading you up to taking more control over your life, taking more control over your energy fields, taking more control over your emotions, which is not always an easy thing to do. Earth wants to ground their emotions. They want to bury them. They don't want to talk about them. But you can't take charge, and you can't work with what you've had, the cards you've been dealt, if you're not willing to look at them. So this month has been about looking at what you've been dealt. How do you fix it? How do you work with it? Sometimes the stuff that you've buried away is actually a gift in disguise. So when you take it out, it's been sitting there, compressing and doing its thing. You could have a beautiful diamond from all the pressure that's been put on it. So taking charge and taking action during this 5th week is the angels are saying, you've done the work, and now look at the prosperity, energetically, of course, that you have developed. Look at the strength that you've developed, and look at how that can help you moving forward. So you're taking charge of the things in your life that you may have thought were out of your control. Tell you a secret, not much is out of your control if you are looking at it from an energy standpoint, and that's what the lesson the angels are going to talk to you about this 5th week. Your message from Source is Winter's Dream Gestation Period. So yes, you're taking charge, you're taking some action, and as I said before, the gestation period, some of that stuff that you shoved down because you just didn't want to deal with it in the moment, has now compressed, it's now purified, it's been draining the negativity, and now you've got those diamonds. So you've got their period of gestation is over, but what else is down there? As you're rooting through your subconscious, you're working through some of these, why do I do these things? You're coming to the understanding that that's not ready to be released yet. It needs some more time to, process. But you're taking charge. You're acknowledging it's there. You're acknowledging you're not ready to deal with it just yet. And so your action is to leave that alone. You work with the things that are ready to come up. You work with the things that you are processing in the now. So your winter's dream, this gestation period, is there may be a period where things just go quiet for you. You've done a lot of work. If you've been journaling or you've been working through things, they're saying energetically you've gotten to that point now where it's like, take a breath, let it all settle down, and what you're doing is you're taking charge. You're not letting the emotions control you. You're saying, nope, we've done this part, and now it's time to pause. So that's the energy that you're working with from Source and from your guides. Let's see what the final week of May 2023's lesson or challenge from the tarot says. We have the World, number 21, a brilliant success, the freedom to go in any direction, a journey that's complete. So as you've been processing through this month, what's coming up for your lesson is, as you've done this, notice the release, notice the joy, notice the success, because when you work through these things and you understand more about yourself, it's successful. If you work through these things and you don't know yourself any better, put some more time into it so you can understand yourself a little bit better. But what you're doing is, as you're doing that, you're freeing yourself from the past. When you let go of all the baggage that you've been carrying around like a dump truck, it allows you to see the future better, so you can actually process and move forward. So your part of your journey, that past part, the part you've been toting around forever, it's over. It's time to let it go. It's not going to hurt you to let it go. It might frustrate you because, well, there's things that I need. The lessons will come with you. The emotional baggage is unnecessary. So as you're working through this, you're releasing the stuff from the past that no longer helps you, that no longer benefits. And the lesson is really about understanding that as you're releasing that, you're being given the gift of choosing a different path, of choosing something different for the future. You're stepping into a path of creation. So hopefully these messages resonated for you, Earth Elemental Energy. And if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like on it, comment, suggest, even criticize, as long as we're respectful down below. That's all I ask for. And if you enjoy this type of content, it's all spiritually themed of some form, go ahead and subscribe, and that way you'll know when I'm dropping new videos or going live, because I do go live for a podcast on Mondays, most Mondays. And you can check some of the previous ones out to find out kind of what I'm doing there. With that, I will let you guys go. Have an awesome month of May, and I will talk to you in a future video.